Quite a few people who talk to us on one-on-one calls ask us how is the work in the US and how to balance your life. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks. But before that, let me give you some insight about my own life and how I do this productively. I have used a lot of personal examples in this video. There are many things I do in my life, like most of you. So one is, I am a full-time doctor who practices anesthesiology. Second, I do a lot of videos to you IMGs and local graduates, telling you all about career. Then I have quite a few one-on-one coaching calls that I do in the evenings when I'm not working in the hospital, while also managing some time for myself, where I routinely do some exercises, plus get the adequate amount of sleep, which I think is really important to stay active and fresh and make decisions, and have time to play with my amazing kids. Should I really say the amazing part? Oh, I don't have a choice. She's sitting right here. Plus, there is also a huge team on IMG Secrets, and we conduct routine meetings with them, both on the doctor side and also the staff who actually manage all the other aspects of IMG Secrets, like social media, website. There are a lot of things going on. All right. Tip number one is organization and having a routine. I know you guys might have heard this many times before, but this is super important to know a few things here. So my daily routine starts at 5 a.m. I get up really early in the morning because I get to work by 7 a.m. I know some of you might be thinking this is really early. Yes, I do wake up early. When we all get to work, we're exclusively focused on patients. Because we work in hospitals, we have a high-stake work, and that is really significant. But one of the things that is really critical is to plan your day, or maybe even better is to plan your week in such a way that what other things you would be achieving in that particular week. For example, let's say it's a Sunday and I'm planning for my entire week. Now this is one way that I make sure I maximize my evenings. And when I'm not doing those one-on-one coaching sessions, I am actually working a lot on those IMGs who have taken those packages, who need help with their CV, cover letters and stuff like that. And I do this when I'm pretty fresh in my mind, because I create, or our team creates, everything from scratch, and we want to ensure we create stellar applications. Okay, so far we're going okay is what she says. I'm happy about that. I thought I lost track.
Thank you.
Anyway, all right, where was I? So stellar applications. And so after this, I also make sure I find some time to do exercise, because it is really critical if you're watching this. Now this brings into tip number 2, which is staying really healthy. It doesn't matter how busy you are, it is really critical to take care of our bodies. You need to have nutritious food, you need to get adequate amount of sleep, and you need to do some sort of exercise. Guys, this is basic. Come on. What is the purpose of working really hard when we cannot do even basic things? It really doesn't matter. So to me, these are a priority in addition to doing work. So one has to create a routine and prioritize what is more important in life. And especially for those of you who have crossed 40s and 50s, I would say this is even more important to stay physically active. And tremendous amount of studies have shown that strength training is the key to having a healthy life. Now this reduces injuries. Even if you have injuries, this can improve your recovery from injuries. So hence it is very important to focus on this. So maybe am I going too much out of topic? Alright, she's like, don't show off about your exercise. Alright guys, so that's about the exercise, and my daughter here is not very happy that I'm dragging about the exercise, which is fine. And now I want to transition to sleep. Now having adequate sleep is quite critical. I don't think there is any controversy in that, but many people think that they need less sleep, they can be more productive. But I feel like the brain needs adequate rest. You need to have those EEG waves on the delta side in order to rejuvenate the next day and then be more productive. So ensure that you do get adequate sleep as well. More importantly, you need to focus on your emotional health. How do I focus on emotional health? Okay, so when I ask her how do I focus on emotional health, she says, I just chill, I do nothing. Alright, probably is not true. So I focus on, as I said, exercise. I won't speak more about that. The other things I focus on is to listen to music. It could be anything. And these are all supported by studies. And also, I mean, you don't need studies to say all this. This is all based on personal experience as well. So you guys have to focus on things like this, because moving through all these exams, moving through your career is not going to be easy. Plus, There are days where work can be extremely busy. There are days when work can be extremely stressful. You could have complex patients, you could have a lot of different complex scenario, and it doesn't matter what part of the world you're working in. These are really critical for each of us to keep in mind. Alright, so the next tip is, I always believe in having smaller goals that are very achievable. Now, I'll tell you an example. When people speak to me one-on-one, one of the big questions they have is, what should I be doing? What should be my plan in terms of achieving the next steps? So I'm always very careful in telling them the next best plan that actually is least disruptive for their lives. Now, for example, when you guys talk to me, I can say, do USMLE exam, move to the USA, move to Canada, do this, do that. It's a lot easier for me to say, but who is the person doing all this? It's you guys. So I'm very careful about having those smaller goals in order to achieve the bigger goals, which is what I encourage you to do. Classic example I always use is your dieting plan. You need to come up with a diet plan that is sustainable. Anything for that matter should be sustainable. So the next thing is, you need to maximize time for yourself. So create a schedule in your day where you can do certain things for yourself. Now, for example, when I come from work, I make sure I keep myself some time to exercise. I have some time to play with my children, and I also have time to record my videos. Now, when it comes to recording videos, I don't do this every day. I do this, in fact, very infrequently. Many times, I batch record the videos, meaning I make quite a few videos when I'm sitting and I have all my studio lights turned on and stuff like that. Now, this is the camera I use for my videos, and this is the microphone that I use, and this is how I set up my lights for the videos. And when I set up all this, it does take time for me to set it up because I use my office to do all this. My daughter is really upset. I'm talking too much about videos. But hang on, let me control my smile. Alright, I batch record my videos and I send it to my editor, who then sends it to my team, and then they upload and do all the necessary things. So this is how I plan my day in such a way that everything happens successfully. And then comes to the point of having meetings with my IMG Secrets team. So with my physician friends, I actually have my meetings ad hoc, and my non-doctor team on IMG Secrets, I do have scheduled meetings, and in fact, I sit with them late in the night. Usually our meeting starts somewhere around 8 p.m., 9 p.m., but I try not to schedule any meetings after my 9 p.m. because I do want to relax and have dinner on time and then go to bed and then spend some time with my children as well. So bottom line is, you need to come up with a schedule that actually works for you in such a way that you have time to do all those things. It is really critical to prioritize things. If you have 10 things you need to do, you're not going to do all of them. So let's be very realistic. Now, a very important thing that everyone has to learn, and it took me many years to learn, is saying no for many things. It is really critical to understand what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, and prioritize those things in your life. And this, I feel, is a huge problem for IMG doctors who actually are in the US or Canada or other countries. They have a really difficult time for saying no to things. So this is a skill you need to come up with. Again, you need to work hard, but also say no to things if it helps you prioritize something else. The next thing that IMGs ask me is about how is work-life balance. This is a bit of an interesting topic. Now, to me, it is really difficult to segregate work-life balance, and I find this concept a little difficult to understand, in my opinion. This is because, this is my take. When you're at work, you're thinking of life. When you're leading your life, let's say after your work, you have to think about work in some way or the other. So you cannot segregate them like 100%. Sure, you can minimize them, but you cannot segregate them. So in general, people, when they're going through training, for example, you're in your medical school, you're in your residency, fellowship, then yes, the work is going to be extremely hard and it is going to be extremely difficult. You have to also do a lot of studying. To me, this is important because as you're learning, going through all this training, it is very important to build your foundation in such a way that after years of being an expert, you must know how to safely take care of patients, which is the most important thing for us as doctors. Hence, building that solid foundation tends to be very important. Interestingly, there was a recent candidate of ours who is in an extremely competitive specialty. Is from India, and she had an interview in one of the hospitals in the US, and she finishes the interview and she wanted to talk to me. So we have a phone call, follow-up phone call. This is a person whom we are helping with one of our packages. And she tells me, I had a tour of the hospital. I don't know if I went to where the patients are. I didn't see much patients. She comes from a place in India that is phenomenal and takes care of hundreds of patients every day. So this is not very unusual. You come from a very busy place in India and then you see the number of patients here. It is dramatically less. So bottom line is the number of hours people spend in India seeing patients is a lot more as compared to what they do in the US and Canada. Now this is a good thing for patients. Patients have to realize this, patients have to respect this, but from a doctor's standpoint, you're spending a lot more time in the hospital. But here in the US, Canada, even though you're spending less time, to me, I think it tends to be a lot more stressful given how the system is set up. Again, there are many exceptions. These are very general statements I'm making, and we do share specific information when we sit with you guys one-on-one, because then I would know more about you. So this is my take on work-life balance. I'm really curious to know what you guys think about this work-life balance thing. And let me know in the comments below. How was that? Alright, I get a thumbs up, meaning I did a good job. I'm just going ad-lib, guys. I'm just going ad-lib, hoping that it's going to work out fine. Because in this video, I'm being mentored by my daughter, who is telling me what to say. Isn't that interesting? You want to come and say hi?
Hi, guys.
Alright.
Just telling him what to do, you know.
And, okay, alright, we do have another unexpected guest here. Alright, so what do you want to say?
I like my daddy.
So the last thing I want to touch upon is about burnout. Alright, now burnout has been a big deal amongst many physicians, and when I mean physicians, I also say physicians and surgeons, dental doctors, and of course many healthcare professionals. So burnout has been increasingly being defined as a problem. This is a multifactorial problem. There are probably lots of things contributing to this, and I do see this very heartbreaking news about students doing things they're not supposed to do. I don't want to use the word what I'm supposed to say because I have children sitting here, and but bottom line is life is more important than any of this. Now think about this. You're all probably doctors watching this. Even if you're not a doctor, you can still have a happy, successful life. So it is very important to recognize that you have to stay within your limits and focus on what is achievable, what is not achievable, because things can be endless. So no point thinking of things that didn't work out and getting depressed and stuff like that. Again, it's easy for me to say, but I unfortunately see many people going through this, and this has been a global problem. So as students, as someone who's educated, it is really important to stay calm, stay cool, and then focus on the bigger things in life. And even if you, let's say, get your position, did not get your position, there are a lot of ways one can lead life, and it is really important to focus on that. There have been instances where IMGs talk to me one-on-one, and I tell them what is very realistic. They actually start crying in front of me right on the call when they share their story and how they have been struggling by not being successful. I mean, I get it. It is very frustrating. We've been through a lot, but life is big. There are many different ways to lead life, and I do want you all to keep up the hope and make sure you look at the things that is positive. Anything you do, a negative outcome possibility always exists. But you focus on the positives and then you go from there instead of focusing on the negatives. Right? Okay, hopefully I think that makes sense to you guys. The other thing is about people using all kinds of things like energy drinks, drugs, and many other things that are not good for the body. I strongly discourage you all from doing this. It is not helpful in any way. Even after using that, you become successful. It just doesn't lead to good outcomes in one's life. So stay away from these things. Stay natural. Sure, coffee, there have been tons and tons of studies about coffee being so good. Sure, you like coffee, you like tea, I get it. But substance abuse is not good, and please don't do that, because you're all educated folks. I'm not saying if you're watching this you would do this, but I'm just putting out a general statement that we come across, unfortunately, people struggling with this, even people who are high achievers struggling with this. So these are some of the things everyone must be careful of. All right, this was a very philosophical video, and I do want to appreciate you listening to this. Of course, if you need any guidance from us, you can always go to our website www.imgsecrets.com and book an appointment from there, and we will be more than happy to guide you with your career. And next, I have a video here where I have mentioned about how you need to study smart, not exactly study hard, in order to increase your success of getting high scores on your exams. Any questions, do post in the comments below. Take care, stay safe. I'll talk to you soon. I want to tell you a story of a girl whom I met, and she was I want to tell you the story of a girl as to how is the work in the US. Oh my gosh. This is hard. Balancing everything. Balancing making video.